What's up, everybody? This is Disco Mnemonic Hydrophonic. I wanted to make this was going to start out as a video just to Nyarlathotep, but I had such an interesting dream last night that I wanted to include that in this video as well. So I'm going to start with Nyarlathotep. Nyarlathotep, also known as the Crawling Chaos or the Faceless God, is an entity known as an outer god from the Lovecraft, that's H.P. Lovecraft, Cthulhu mythos. Now, Cthulhu is pronounced Cthulhu now. I came across a lot of information saying that H.P. Lovecraft would say Cthulhu. That's however you want to take that. I didn't actually find any recordings of him saying it that way. I didn't look, so maybe that's partly why. But so, anyways, Lovecraft from the Cthulhu mythos, and has also been called the Black Pharaoh by others. Being a spawn of Azathoth, which I will cover in a minute, Nyarlathotep differs from the other deities in the mythos in a number of ways. Most of the outer gods are exiled to the stars, like Yog-Sothoth and Azathoth, and most of the great old ones are sleeping and dreaming like Cthulhu. Nyarlathotep, however, is active and frequently walks the earth in the guise of a human being, usually a tall, slim, joyous man. Now, that sounds kind of like some stuff that you've heard about, maybe like Slender Man or things like that. I don't know if I came across that, or I'm just kind of. I think I saw maybe some theories on that, but okay. Earth in the guise of a man. Yeah, so he has 1,000 other forms and manifestations, most reputed to be quite horrific and sanity blasting. While channeling Nyarlathotep, this is what I received. You may try and lie, though I, and he's speaking about human beings here, withering, soaking husks of waste discarded from self-identification. I come to shake you free. I come to shake you and free you if you survive long enough to remember the past of what you once dreamed. We are your shattered dreams and nightmares manifested in your collective unconscious minds. We hearken from your memories of worlds beyond this one and have traveled through the gates of your shadows to this world. We now manifest into the material world through you and your kin. I found that very interesting. I thought it was pretty cool. So when I actually worked with Nyarlathotep, I developed a working with him, and I did it on myself as I do all my workings first, and the energy was pretty strong. I felt with a lot of the entities that I've noticed, or not a lot of them, but the couple that I've worked with so far from the Cthulhu mythos, are like very almost anxiety inducing powerful. So Nyarlathotep was definitely one of these. I was working with him and I was doing the energy work on myself, and it was very I could feel like electricity like popping around me. It was very strong. It was a powerful energy, and it was definitely, I could see where the whole sanity blasting thing would come from. Because it was definitely that. Like, you had to kind of, like, keep your mind, keep your wits about you when you're working. Well, I did when I was working with him. So it was pretty fucking cool with that. I also did it on a friend of mine who said they experienced similar, maybe not the sanity blasting part, but also very powerful. So when it comes to the part where being a spawn of Azathoth, when I actually channeled with Azathoth last night, so I figured it would be very similar. I didn't channel actual, like, any words. I channeled working with him, sigils and stuff like that, some mantras. And when I did that working on myself, again, I thought it would be very similar. It was not. It was completely different. I've gotten 3 different workings with Azathoth. And or Azathoth or Og-Sothoth, different ways of saying him. I think I read V.K. Jehannam pronounces it Og-Sothoth. And then so anyways, when I did that one on myself, the first one, I actually fell asleep, and I was kind of confused, like why I would fall asleep. So I thought it would be I thought it'd be similar to Nyarlathotep, but it wasn't. And then after I woke up, I felt fine. Everything was cool. It wasn't so sanity blasting as working with Nyarlathotep. So it was the energy I felt. It's almost like I knew it was there, but in this plane, I felt it differently. It felt almost subtle. I did feel it, but it wasn't working on this body. It felt like it was more working on like astral bodies, and like something is going on, but it's in another way. And when I thought about why, because Azathoth is the sleeping. He's asleep. He's a slumbering great one. So the great old ones. So that kind of made sense to me later as to why it would be why I would fall asleep immediately afterwards. So I found that interesting. From there, I got two more. The second one was just all three of them were basically the same. I felt them as in like something was happening somewhere else, but I knew that I was supposed to do all three of the rites, and so I did them. And I did them on a friend also, and so they also told me that they felt pretty much the same thing. That they knew something was going on in another aspect of themselves, like an astral or something, and then but it was they could feel the energy was almost subtle here on this plane. But anyway, so last night I went to sleep and I had a pretty interesting dream. It was I was like going to garage sales, but the garage sales I got information on Craigslist or something similar to Craigslist. And then when I went on there, I went to this cul-de-sac when I was like, you had to go through the computer. I don't know if this is because of the pandemic or whatever, but you had to go to the computer and then go knock on the door. But that wouldn't make any sense. Anyway, and then you would tell them, hey, I saw this. Are you still selling this or whatever, right? So I entered this cul-de-sac and I pulled up to this house and this woman answered and I was like, yeah, I'm trying to get the tablecloth that you have, and it was like she's like, okay, that's like 100 and something bucks, like 120 or 180 bucks, and I was like, what the fuck? It's like I'm not paying for that, So I was like, nah, that's okay, I'm leaving. And then when I left, I had like this really nice white car, and then I got into the car. It was like in another driveway off, and then I pulled out, which was very difficult to do. There's a lot of cars everywhere. I remember it being difficult to back out of that driveway, and I remember thinking like, fuck this, but then I was like, no, well, I gotta leave, so I ended up doing it. It was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. I don't know if that means anything. I think it may. Things are usually a lot easier than we think they're going to be if we just do them. So anyways, I pulled out of the cul-de-sac. When I was leaving, I pulled into this dirt road. On the dirt road, like a dirt back of a it was like a back of a hotel room. So when I was there, all of a sudden I became like I was watching the dream happen, and I was in this hotel room, and this guy was bringing this girl into the hotel room. Now this sounds kind of weird, but it gets weirder. But he was bringing her into this hotel room, and he was all like asking her weird questions. And I mean by weird questions, like nothing sexual, but like just weird questions, as in like, have you ever owned a dog when you were like 6? And that's not the question, but it was something like that. Like just weird fucking questions. And then so he's like, well, I'm going to leave and I'm going to come back. So he takes off, and I'm like, this dude's going to fucking he's going to kill this chick or whatever, right? And the interesting thing about this chick, she was like smaller, like very small. Sorry, it's a fucking net. And, motherfucker. And she was very small, and she like she was a quadriplegic, but she did not have arms or legs. And she was just like a head and a body, right? And so he takes off, comes back with his son, like a little kid. The little kid's like between 4 and 5, around there. So then when he comes back, he's like, asking her more of these questions. And after she answers enough of them, I guess, that satisfies whatever he's trying to figure out, he's like, okay, well, now I'm going to introduce you to my wife. So his wife comes in, and it's this lady. She comes in, and she immediately goes like to the nightstand, and then like lays out this kit of stuff, almost like a torture kit, but it was like a kit that she was gonna like do some stuff. So then I'm like, as I woke up and I recorded this, I'm like, okay, I think maybe these were like archons doing something, and I was watching them do something. So what I got from this, well, like a gnosis kind of just came through. The feeling that I got was that like whoever this person was, this female, she was actually an occultist, and though she had awakened like certain aspects of herself, she still like had been neglecting other aspects of herself, like let's say protection, self-defense, like magical self-defense and things like that. But she was awakened, so basically she was just making herself food for these archons or whatever, or like they were going to ask her questions. So it was basically like they're going to figure out how she did this so they could like do something about it or whatever, right? So and then yeah, so the dream stopped obviously. So but then so when I woke up, that's like the gnosis I got out of it. Which, to me, what I read from as far as other people writing about that, and especially V.K. Jehannam, that Azathoth is very wise and gives a lot of good gnosis. I think this was what was happening. He was telling me, you know, that there's a lot of occultists out there that only work on certain aspects of themselves. We have to do everything. We have to cover ourselves, like we have to protect ourselves. We have to protect ourselves spiritually. We have to protect ourselves in many different ways, like or you know, like we're leaving ourselves open. And so what they were doing, the archons in the dream were doing, they were trying to figure out where she was open by asking her just these weird, mundane questions that she was giving answers to, so they could know how to get in, how to get around her slight defenses. You know what I'm saying? Her very weak defenses. So she wasn't complete. She wasn't complete in her practice, and she had the ability to be complete, but it seemed that she wasn't complete out of like laziness. You know what I'm saying? They were noticing her because she was powerful, but she was lacking. So I guess that's what I'll say is like, you know, basically when we work on aspects of ourselves, we have to do everything. We have to work on every aspect of the occult that we can imagine. We have to work on self-defense. We have to work on, you know, like opening our eyes and like being able to see entities, work with entities, and just different things, you know, like I would even say like, you know, work on your cursing. So if something does happen, you have a way to react to that. You know, don't just be all thinking that everything is just going to be good all the time, because it's not. You know, just because you personally are not in a spiritual warfare or in some kind of battle, let's say, doesn't mean that somebody else isn't. You know what I'm saying? So always just be ready. I'm not saying to go incite any type of spiritual violence or anything like that, or any type of earthly violence, but just, you know, be able to take care of yourself. So that's what I got from it. Hopefully this helped somebody. If it didn't, I'm sorry. But if you like this video, share it with your friends. If you hate it, share it with your enemies. Later.